Viewers, all of this has rattled the Chinese. The spokesperson of the Chinese embassy in India, Navika, has come out with a statement saying that they take exception to the fact that the Prime Minister has called China expansionist, saying it's groundless to view China as expansionist. Let's go straight across to Srinjoy Chaudhary. Srinjoy, China, according to the spokesperson, has demarcated its boundaries with 12 out of 14 nations and turned them into lines of cooperation, etc., etc. The Chinese responding.
Well, the important point is that expansionism is exactly the word. 12, well, there are lots of question marks there. As far as the sea is concerned, that's not a land boundary, and there are many countries, whether it's the Philippines, whether it's Malaysia, whether it's Indonesia, whether it's Vietnam, who are unhappy with what the situation is. So land boundary, when you say, is actually in a way of just covering up the entire, because the sea, what the Chinese have done affected at least 6 or 7 countries, and that's.
But China still
think of the situation of the Chinese.
Srinjoy, but the Chinese still saying that calling it an expansionist mindset is actually exaggeration of the differences between India and China. Is China trying to play it down, seeing the resolve and the hard stance the Prime Minister is taking? Well, this is going to play out over the next few days, but we have another.
I'll tell you, Navika, the Chinese, the fact that they've responded so quickly. Now, the Chinese don't usually respond this quickly. They take their time. This is not a democratic country where everyone is empowered. I mean, I'm talking about China here, where everyone is empowered to speak their mind. So obviously, someone at the CCP in Beijing has sat down and word by word examined the Prime Minister's statement, and the one that they have settled on is expansionist, because they realize the damage.
That was the message to them.
That was the message.
It's hit home.
And the opposition, of course, is saying that, oh, well, you know, the Prime Minister didn't even mention China by name, but the people who needed to get the message have got it, and they're responding. So look at how off the page the opposition really is here.
Absolutely. And before we get on to the opposition, there is another breaking piece of news that we are getting, and this is the behind-the-scenes stories of the Prime Minister's trip to Leh. That information brought to us by Nikunj Garg, our internal security editor. And Nikunj, the Prime Minister's Leh visit was kept as a close guarded secret, not just in Delhi, but even in Leh. Can you tell us when exactly was this message conveyed? Because it came as a bit of a surprise to many back home in Delhi. In fact, senior ministers also had no clue about the Prime Minister's trip to Leh. Nikunj, you always have the inside information, so tell us what transpired behind the scenes.
Well, Navika, it was only once the Prime Minister's plane took off from Delhi that the message to the field formations, actually the field commanders, I'm suspecting, do not have the precise information on that bit, field commanders, that is the army commander there, at least would have known that the Prime Minister is flying in, but the rest of the chain of command, rest of the hierarchy and the field formation was completely clueless. They were only informed by a special relay message, which was earlier categorized as a VIP visit, changed then to the Prime Minister's visit, and that's when the highest alert was sounded. Obviously, it was for security reasons primarily, but one important message lies in there as well. The Prime Minister did not want it to be a choreographed visit for Prime Minister of India, his personage. He wanted to feel the pulse at all by himself, the natural feeling amongst the Jawans, the men of Indo-Tibetan Border Police, the Indian Army, and all other field formations who are there. So the field formations, Navika, their men would only got to know about Prime Minister being in midst of them. Once the Prime Minister's plane landed, that's when the message traveled from the field commanders to the field formation that it is not the CDS, not the VVIP visit that we were expecting, but the Prime Minister of the country himself who is in the midst of all those who have been taking on China all this while.